For Lesson 10's homework, we're going to look at our completing the square and some of the more challenging ones, especially when you start to put a number in front of our x squared. So we want to create an equivalent expression by completing the square on the following trinomials. So this first one is all set up nicely for us to just start with our process. So we take the 2 divided by 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1, so 1 and 1. That parenthesis factors into x plus 1 squared, and then 3 minus 1 is a positive 2. As we look at our next one, we have to take the 2 out of the first two terms, so x squared minus 2x plus a line, minus 5 minus a line. So negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 squared is a positive 1. So now we put a 1 in the first line, but remember, for that last line, I should say, it's really 2 times 1, and 2 times 1 is 2, so it has to read minus 2 on the last line. So our 2 stays out in front. This factors into x minus 1 squared, and then negative 5 minus 2 is negative 7. Here we need to take out a negative 5 in front. So remember, what that does is it flips the sign of those two. So in the middle we get minus 8x plus a line, and then minus 70 minus a line. So negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared is 16. So 16 on the first line. Here's where we got to be careful. Negative 5 times 16 is negative 80. So on the last line, it's really negative 70 minus negative 80. So negative 5, this becomes x minus 4 squared. And then negative 70 minus negative 80 is really a positive 10. And again, it's just easier to use your calculator on a lot of it, so just be careful not to make any mistakes. Here we have to take out the negative 1. So x squared minus 4x plus a line, minus 7 minus a line. So negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. So 4 in the first line. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4 for our last line. So you could put negative 1, or if you just put a negative sign out in front, it means the same thing. And then negative 7 minus negative 4 is negative 3. All right, and again, just use your calculator if you're struggling with the overload of negatives that occur in that back process. So here we'll start by taking out a 4. 4 parentheses x squared minus 3x plus a line. So plus a line plus 17 minus a line. So now this is one of those instances where we end up with odd numbers, so we get fractions. So we're plus 9 over 4, and then it might be a little bit hard to figure out, but if you just use your calculator, 4 times 9 over 4 just gives you 9. This one happens to work out nicely. I'm not saying that they all do, it just happens that this one does. So 4 goes on the outside. We're x minus 3 over 2 on the inside squared. And then 17 minus 9 gives us a positive 8. And that's what our completing square looks like here. And then this one just ends a little bit more simply for us, I should say, except for the fact that we have an odd number. So actually, sorry, I forgot to add my lines in first. So we take the 9 divided by 2. We just stick with 9 over 2. Squared, we get 81 over 4. So 81 over 4. There's nothing to multiply it back at the end, so it's just minus 81 over 4. Inside, I hope we're getting the hang of this now. The parentheses really is the easy part. And then negative 1 minus 81 over 4. Well, I'm going to use my calculator for that piece. And I end up with negative 85 over 4. So minus 85 over 4. And in our next lesson, we'll start to learn how to actually take these and do our solving.